A little story time on the Oliver 88. This tractor is, I believe, if I remember right, it is the second one that I ever bought. And it was my third tractor overall. I'll tell you a story about the other two later on, but the second tractor I bought, I actually traded for it a guy. I already had my 77, and I had got another 77 that was sitting on a property of a guy that we were doing hay for, and we ended up buying it and brought it home, and it was in rough shape. Well, I found out that it was the tractor that the neighbor's dad had bought new, so he wanted it back, and he had this 88 that had terrible back tires on it, and if I remember right, the head was off or something. It was apart and was in kind of sad shape again. If you've watched some of the others, I've said that's usually how I buy tractors. I like a challenge, and then when you're done, you know what you've got. So anyway, I got this tractor by trading him, and I had a tractor that I didn't have, and he had his dad's tractor back, so we were both happy. And I think this, if I remember right off the top of my head, this is a 1951, in which case it is one of the last ones that still had the full frame stripe down here, and then also band brakes, and your hood stripe was painted yellow on the first ones. The later ones, this casting ended here and wasn't even raised up all the way back. I guess they did that to save money. I kind of like them with the full frame stripe. All three of my fleet lines have the full frame stripe, so that's kind of neat to have a triplet pair, I guess you'd say, that where they all look alike. But it's pretty well, other than my cheapo paint job as a kid. I put these new tires on probably a year or two ago. I had used it with, well, traded around on some of my other tractors. I had put brand new tires on it once, and then I didn't like the way they looked because they looked way too skinny for this tractor. I just didn't like it, so I ended up swapping them onto my Super 77 and ended up buying a new pair of tires for these that are a little wider. These are 15.538s, and it's a handy tractor. It gets used a lot. I've got a small pull behind woods mower, and it does a lot on that in the summertime. Right now it's hooked up to this plow I got this spring, was playing with it and never got it put away again. But anyway, it's like I said, pretty well just like I bought it. Oh, when I bought it, this tractor had hydraulics on it, and somewhere along the line it got taken off, and somebody had just put a mechanical lift, set it on top of there. Because if you've ever had one apart, and that might be an idea for a future video to show you what that is, because people ask about that quite frequently. To switch from a mechanical lift to a hydraulic unit, you would have to either cut the there's a gear in there on the input shaft. You'd have to cut that off or put a different input shaft in that's shorter, because you need that space where that gear is at for the hydraulic pump to hang down in there. The hydraulic pump drives off the long shaft that runs your PTO, but that's the only difference when people are talking about changing one to the other. You have to have that gear to run the mechanical lift. So the one that was on here obviously did nothing because the gear was gone. This was a hydraulic pump tractor that had a hydraulic unit on it, I should say. So it did not have the gear in there anymore. So it was mainly just for looks. So I found an old style hydraulic unit and put back on there. Your original ones only had your switches up here, and then when they started to prove troublesome, they had little nubs that came out of here, and you could take a little flat wrench and work them manually. Well, then finally they made these levers where you could just clamp them on there, and then later they went to the style where they're on the top, like we see all the time on the later tractors. This being an earlier tractor, well, it's still got the older style seat. This one needs to be rebuilt. I haven't got that far. It's got new rubbers on it, and I just bolted them down tight. I'm missing the adjuster, and I've got a bushing kit to do. I've done several seats for people, but seems like I never get time to work on my own stuff. So that's a future project you might get to see. The earlier ones, I know they had smaller brake pedals than the later ones. If you look at the physical size of your pedals here, I'll throw in a picture here in a minute of the ones on like the later 88s, and you can see what I'm talking about. What else? I'm sure I'll miss something, but anyway, the tractor has been pretty good. I had it running right away when I had got it, put it together, and then it sat for a long time and it got water in the oil, and so just a few years ago I got it going again. Probably 3 or 4 years ago I got the motor going again, and like I said, it gets used a lot, so none of my stuff is shined up museum quality, but it gets used quite frequently, so it's in good shape. Here's something some people probably don't see. That is an old style headlight bracket made of cast, and usually you see those sheet metal ones like what's up there. The early tractors had this on it. I've been using them like this as a bracket for a warning light. I've put warning lights on everything just because people's driving nowadays is kind of pathetic, and anything you can do to catch their attention is, you know, better to help both of you, because it seems like nobody watches. I put a slow moving vehicle sign on everything too. I mean, I think if you have an accident, maybe that'll help you out if you at least made some attempt to get people's attention. So, but it's a pretty good old tractor. So let's take it for a spin. Squeaking, that's this plow that's back here. I probably should have unhooked it, but it's along for the ride. It's not hurting anything. My friend following along, he follows about every lap anywhere I go, but that's good. He's watching out for things. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and please make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and we can keep making videos that have Oliver and White tractors. So until the next time, we'll see you.